How Wagner Group's mutiny is affecting Cuba. The Wagner Group's mutiny has significant implications for Cuba. Recent reports reveal the country's soldiers being drafted into the Ukrainian conflict. This development sheds light on Moscow's attempt to fill the void left by the Wagner Group. The Madrid-based NGO, Prisoners Defenders, which focuses on Cuban human rights, disclosed that an agreement was signed between the Cuban and Russian governments, wherein Cuba would send soldiers to join the war in Ukraine. However, this raises crucial questions regarding the consequences and motives behind such a move. The Wagner Group, led by Yevgeny Prigozhin, has become a problem for Russia, especially concerning the Ukrainian front. The group comprised individuals with limited military training, and often served as expendable forces in the war. Many Wagner fighters perished in battle. Notably, the group consisted of criminals recruited from Russian prisons, making their lives dispensable. By employing these Wagnerites instead of formal soldiers, Russia could maintain internal legitimacy and avert a crisis. Additionally, Wagner played a crucial role in various parts of the world, where their operations were intertwined with Russian military and intelligence activities. The group provided security services, paramilitary assistance, and propagated disinformation campaigns in countries such as Sudan, the Central African Republic, Mozambique, Mali, Libya, and notably, Syria. The group's utility explains Russian President Vladimir Putin's leniency toward Prigozhin. Despite his criticism of the Russian military establishment and the justification for the war in Ukraine, as Prigozhin's hostility increased, the Putin regime sought alternatives to Wagner, perceiving the group as more of a threat than an asset. The Russian Ministry of Defense intended to disband Wagner by July 1. Against this backdrop, Russia turned to Cuba for military recruitment. According to Prisoners Defenders, each Cuban soldier would receive a monthly payment of $2,000 from Russia. However, the Cuban government would claim a significant percentage of this income, ranging from 75 to 95%. The report further suggests that these soldiers have no choice but to join Russian forces, as failure to comply would result in retaliation and punishment. Cuba's involvement in foreign conflicts through the deployment of soldiers is not a novel occurrence. In the past, Cuban troops have participated in wars in Angola, Ethiopia, Congo, Algeria, Iraq, and Syria. It is estimated that Cuba lost around 5,000 soldiers in Africa alone. Given the similarity in status between Cuban soldiers and Wagner's recruited prisoners, it is reasonable to assume that Cuban casualties will be considerably higher in the current conflict. The recruitment of Cuban soldiers benefits the Cuban government economically, while simultaneously reducing Russia's dependence on the Wagner Group. Moreover, it strengthens the alliance between Russia and left-wing Latin American regimes, such as Venezuela, Nicaragua, and Cuba, all of which supported Putin during the Wagner Rebellion. This strategic alliance extends to Russia's military and equipment deployments in Venezuela, including the involvement of Wagner members, the provision of military advisors, and the presence of nuclear bombers in Venezuela and Nicaragua. Russia has also authorized troop operations and training in Nicaragua and Venezuela. It is logical to conclude that Putin, as part of this alliance, would attempt to strike similar recruitment deals with Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela and Daniel Ortega of Nicaragua. However, such obstinacy from Putin is unlikely to lead to a resolution of the conflict anytime soon. Instead, casualties will continue to mount, and authoritarian Latin American regimes may sacrifice their soldiers in an indefinite and senseless war, prolonging the suffering. Follow us on Facebook for the latest in national security news.